When you are with a woman, how do you get her thinking about you in a sexual way? How do you get her thinking about you as more than a friend? On today's video, I'm going to be teaching you this concept with examples for you to actually use, practical stuff, in terms of how to create tension. Tension is the thing that makes her think about you in a sexual way and also creates this spark of attraction between you two that is more than friendship. I'm Trip Kramer from TripAdvice.com. Let's get into it. Tension is the unspoken connection that you have with a woman when you first meet her, okay? You know what tension is, right? It's like when you pull on something really hard, it creates tension. And that tension right there needs to be broke eventually, and that usually is when you two are having sex, okay? This is sexual tension. But how do you lead up to that point? Well, there's a few different ways to do that. First, there's physical tension that you can create with a woman, and there's also verbal tension. So let's say you just meet a woman out and about wherever, usually in a social setting. You can create physical tension with her. How is that? Well, you can actually get closer to her in conversation. So pretend this is you and this is her, and you guys are talking at a normal distance. Well, as you guys are talking more and more, you make sure that you're facing her and you even move a little bit closer to her. Not too much in her personal space, but just enough where you guys are really in the interaction together. This creates tension because it's like, wow, we are in this, I'm talking to you. And of course, while you're doing this, if you're giving her really deep eye contact, she's going to start to feel more of that tension. Okay, so that's a good way to do it on a physical level. Here's another example of how to do it on a physical level. Let's pretend that you are at a club or somewhere that's really loud. One good way to create some more physical tension is you can actually just slightly lean in a little bit and talk in her ear so that she can hear you. So she thinks, oh, of course, he's just talking to me and he's talking more in my ear and closer to my ear so I can hear him. But the actual act of doing that creates tension because you're talking into her ear, which is a very intimate place to be talking. Of course, don't say anything creepy or weird. You're talking about normal everyday stuff, whatever you guys are in conversation about, but you're also doing it at this very close physical proximity. Then there's verbal tension. You can create verbal tension by saying things to her that make her believe that you have some interest in her, okay? So one thing I love to say is just look in her eyes and say, you know what, you are adorable. But you don't do it in this like sexy way, like you're adorable. You just do it in this kind of like, almost like you're laughing, like you're adorable. Okay, and you can say that after she says something funny or something interesting, and then you move on from there. You don't have to linger with that. You just kind of throw that in there really quickly. That builds the tension because you're saying like a little bit of a compliment, but then you're moving on to something else. So she gets this kind of like spike of emotions, creates that good tension. Another compliment or something nice to say is, you know what, there's something interesting about you. You say that to her. You do it with a nice little smile. There's something interesting about you. And then you move on to talking about something else. Now, I want to talk about what this whole idea of tension really is. It's this idea of balance, okay? Tension is created through balance. If you do something too much, like you over-compliment her, over-touch her, then the tension breaks and there's not tension anymore. Tension is subtle. It's kind of like a dance. It has to be tense in this way where she doesn't know what's going on in terms of how you're thinking and feeling, because there's this balance of I'm kind of on and then off, right? Or this is called push and pull, like you're pushing and pulling. Pushing and pulling. Pulling is doing something where you're showing interest, and pushing is showing maybe like a little bit of disinterest. Like that would be just stopping talking about the fact that she's adorable. You're just saying it really quickly and then moving on. So make sure you have this balance when you're creating the tension. Now, when you get her on a date, another good way to really build this sexual tension is when you go for a kiss, and I highly recommend you do on a first date, especially if it's going well. Kiss her very slowly. A lot of guys do it really fast because they're nervous or they think if they go fast, it's going to be more aggressive and she'll like it more. But you go really, really slow. That starts to build more of her being turned on. That creates even more tension and gets her more sexually into you. Going slow, being very deliberate with it, and just taking your time, okay? And then when it gets further and you guys are maybe at your place, in her bedroom, your bedroom, wherever, what you want to do is try to wait as long as you can before having sex in that moment, right? Like do lots of foreplay, do lots of kissing, things like that to really build up that tension so much that she's going to be craving to have sex with you. That tension is so key, and that's what we're talking about here. If you want to learn more about tension and how to create it and some other techniques, I actually go over all this stuff in my famous Hooked program, which you can check out at getherhooked.com. I talk about how tension is really important. Of course, I've already done that now, but also giving you more examples and then how it intertwines with some other concepts that I talk about in the Hooked program that really dive deep into how to build attraction with these women that you're meeting. So go check it out, getherhooked.com, and you can find that in the description down below. For now, really understand how tension is built, and this is how you're going to make it so that she's interested in you and attracted to you. Try some of this out. Let us know how it goes in the comments, and I'll see you on the next video.